Check, 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 check. One, one. Check, 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 check.
Hello. Bharath Rajanna, sir. Shall we start the program?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can start.
Yeah. I welcome Bharath Rajanna, sir, for this session. Today, Bharath Rajanna, sir, will take the session on art of writing business plan, and we need not to, tell more about the Bharath Rajanna, sir, because we are very much aware of Bharath Rajanna, sir. And I welcome all the students, behalf of our SIMS, behalf of our director and our SIMS faculties. We welcome you for the session, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take over.
Thank you so much, sir. So, hi guys. Good morning. Is my voice audible? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then quickly switch on your camera. See, this is not some boring session. I want to tell you how to write a business plan. I want to tell you a lot of things. So quickly switch on your camera so that I can see you guys. I can know that you guys are there, not simply switched on and sleeping at home. Okay. So switch on your cameras fast so that we can start the class. Or else for me it will become boring for me to just to keep on saying what I've been knowing. At least if I can see somebody, at least it will be I'll be satisfied that somebody is listening to me. Or else it's more of I'm talking to my computer. And one more thing is, if I can see you, I'll be more interactive. Or that means what I know that somebody's listening. I can tell you more points, and I can tell you a lot of other things and all, right? So, and I have been told that most of you wanted to participate in a lot of business plan competitions coming up, right? And especially FKCCI Manthan competition, most of you wanted to participate. So I've been told that you guys want a lot of insights of how to write a business plan, what to do, what not to do, and all that, right? So if you can quickly switch on your cameras, I'll tell you a lot of tips and tricks where you can clear your rounds. If not, I'll just stick to my topic, art of writing business plan. It's up to you. Okay. So we were expecting almost 100. So we almost have 40 now. So we'll what, sir, should we wait or shall we start off, sir?
So you can start the session, sir.
Okay.
I have informed in the group.
Okay, sir. Okay. So now, before we go ahead and before we try to learn a couple of things or before we try to understand about, art of writing a business plan, first, let me ask you something. How many of you have some idea, right? Basically, if at all you want to write a business plan, you should have some idea, or you should have a plan, or that there's an idea at your mind. So how many of you have a plan or have an idea yet? You can use this reactions. You have this yes and no option, or you can raise hand. So whatever it's comfortable for you. How many of you have an idea? Because if at all I'm talking business idea or business plan, or about entrepreneurship, somebody should know what is that, or should have an idea. You'll understand much better. So how many of you have? Please raise hand or click on yes. At least tell me that you guys have an idea so that I know who's there. So Monica says she has an idea. Good. And Prithvi says good. Prithvi. Rahul R. Okay, I see a couple of hands now. Kishore Yadav, Lokesh. Okay, great. Okay, great. So guys, if you can one by one quickly tell me one by one, I'll go by one by one. Tell me quickly in 30 seconds, what is your idea? Okay, just in 30 seconds, what is your idea? So we'll start with Monica. Monica, we can start with you. So tell me quickly, what is your idea so that all of us know what is that about?
So basically, in marketing, I've realized that there's a gap between social media and especially in online marketing. I've seen there's a gap between social media influencers and marketing departments in big MNCs. So my plan was to connect with them. So I thought I'd develop a software in which I can connect these online influencers. I'll have data of the online influencers, and I will be selling my software to the marketing department of big companies who want to market themselves. So it makes it easier for them to access details about the influencer. They'll know what that particular influencer is talking about currently, who are their audience, what is their age gap, what are the keywords those influencers are using. So it makes it much easier to know how to campaign the product that these MNCs are planning to release. So that was my plan.
Okay.
So the software will be a very simple platform which you can use it even on your phone. And you will get all the data, you'll get your analytics, and you'll know how successful your campaign would be with that particular social media influencer. So that's how my business plan is.
Okay, great. Nice one. Next, Lokesh, can we go with you?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it's basically I've been going with construction company, sir. where the rural people are struggling for some of the materials. We are going with some agents. It's going to be heavy cost for them, sir. So I make a one stall where the bricks, stone, everything under one roof, sir. So they can need not to go with any merchants or any person. They can easily come to me and they can carry from here itself. And I will be having facility of telephone, sir. Trying going with telephone also, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Telephonic, and if each company is boom, then I will plan for opening of the app where they can book there itself, sir.
Okay. Okay. Great. So next, anybody else want to go ahead? So I had seen a lot of hands, but now it's all they also. So anybody next want to go ahead? Good. Good, Lokesh. Good. Anybody else? I saw a lot of hands, but now I don't see them. Anybody else want to go ahead and tell us what is your plan? And don't worry, we're not going to steal it. Your plan is yours. I'll tell you something. No one. So it's only 2 people in the class. Guys, come on. It's just you have to tell what is your idea.
Yeah, I just have like a simple idea. I don't know if it's great or something.
Tell them.
It's like we have used clothes in our houses. Like we use it like 10 times, 15 times, and then we don't feel like wearing them again. So decluttering of the used clothes where we can like biowash it and like sell it on an online platform, say an app or something, and then we give discounts to the customers who are selling their clothes. So discounts in the sense it can be like redeemable or paying, I mean like some coupons or something like that.
Okay. So actually in US there's a lot of startups who basically it's a second-hand clothes shop is what you're trying to talk about online.
Not exactly. I don't want the clothes which are sold by customers to be again sold.
Okay.
So some other solution for that, like biowashing and then producing some other, making that used clothes into a new cloth.
Okay, great. There's one of my friend. So basically what they do is they have a company called as Green Soul. So what they do is your shoes are there, no? Your shoes. Basically, when your shoes get old, what do? You throw it off. So what they do, they take those shoes, they cut only the sole, and they make a beautiful slippers out of it, and they give it to the rural people where the people are very poor, they can't afford to buy a chappal or a slipper. So the shoe they convert it to a beautiful slipper and they give it to them. So every idea is good all the time, right? Good. So then next, anybody else want to go ahead? Guys, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand what kind of ideas you guys are having, what kind of place you're standing at today, so that I can help you with a lot of other things. Yeah. Anybody else want to go ahead? Prithvi?
I have an idea, but I don't know whether it will work out or something. Like in rainy season and all, I've seen in Facebook's like the full vehicle will be two-wheeler will be covered with the sheet where don't need to carry the jackets or whatever jackets and all. Is it like it's like a zip thing where it will cover your vehicle and then 2 people sitting behind you?
Okay. Actually, this is there in China, no? China and Japan, it's there already.
Japan or China, sir. I've seen in Facebook. So I thought I can implement in India also.
And it's there in Japan and China, both places.
Yeah.
Good.
But in India, it's not there, no? So I thought of implementing it, but I don't know it will work out or what. I have this in my mind, sir.
Okay. Good. Great. Good, Prithvi. Anybody else? Anybody else, guys?
Sir.
Yeah, Shilpa, go ahead.
Sir, I have a plan like gearless bikes, sir, in Bullet. Like we have Bullet, no, sir, Royal Enfield. So if it is, it's like putting like gear, but what is my plan is without gear.
So without gear. So you want to do a bike, gearless bike?
Gearless that I need only in Royal Enfield model itself.
Why so?
Because like nowadays all women are liking, like it's a crazy bike, so even women are liking to ride that, but some women are they're not coming front because it's in gear, they'll be scaring and it's more weight, so they can't balance. So instead of that, my plan is without gearless and the petrol tank, now it's like 12 and a half liter or 13-liter petrol tank. So I'll reduce to 10 liter. So without gearless, it will be the weight will be reduced due to that petrol tank and all, but the model will be the same like Royal Enfield itself. So more women will be they'll come to purchase bullets.
Okay. Okay. Great. 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 Nice. Nice one. Nice, Shilpa. Anybody
Thanks.
else? That's all. So 4 to 5. Any more else? Anybody else? I saw some 10 hands in starting. No, nobody. That's all. Okay. Okay. See, first thing, if at all, let me talk about not only about business plan. Let me talk about why we are writing a business plan, or why we, art, or my session topics today is something called as art of writing a business plan. Okay, or art of writing a, pitch desk. We also nowadays we call it as pitch nowadays in the startup world. We don't call it as a business plan now. We call it as pitch, P-I-T-C-H, pitch, right? So when you want to write your pitch, or when you want to write your business plan, so there are two kinds. Pitch is the short form of your plan. Pitch means where every time whenever you want to talk to somebody about your plan, max to max you have 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. So you explain what is your pitch in that 10 to 15 minutes. And business plan goes in more detailed. Business plan goes in more in detail, where it's completely researched. Everything A to Z, everything is there. Okay. So nowadays we have these two terms. One is called as pitch, and pitch is more of a summary version of your business plan. And the entire business plan has the complete details about what is what from A to Z, everything, right? Now, why I asked you guys about, tell me your plan, because first I want to understand how many of you at least started having ideas, right? So being an MBA, if at all you are not getting a lot of ideas and all, so where to get ideas and all, let me tell you a couple of things. So ideas, see, we get a lot of ideas, we get a lot of things and all, good. But ideas should come out of the problems which you see. So any entrepreneur you're gonna see, go ahead and see any entrepreneur, you're gonna go ahead and read about them, or anybody. It's all about they're trying to solve a problem. Okay. So being an entrepreneur, you might get some solid, very good idea. But if that idea doesn't solve somebody's problem, it's not gonna work. Right. So for example, so I know many of you said most of the ideas, what you guys said, which most of them already are doing, it's already done. So first things first, what you should always try to find the problem. So problem finding is very important. So, and to solve that problem, you can come with an idea, but addressing a problem or understanding the problem, which which any kind of area people are trying to solve or people are facing, is very important. So first thing, you have to identify the problem. Problem identifying or understanding the problem is very important. Not getting an idea is important. Understanding a problem is very important. Okay, that's the first thing. Next thing, when we go ahead, we all think, let me talk about let me think that all of you want to start a startup, and this is why you are there today's session, to learn about how to start a startup while writing your business plan, right? So before you do all of this, first things first, where always first thing what I told you, the problem, identifying the problem should be very important, right? Then after that, before any time, you might think everything is gonna great. You're going to think everything's going to happen, but you have to be keeping updated about what you want, what you don't want. That means what? You might like a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that everybody else also like the same, right? So whenever you have something, you should always have a current knowledge of what is happening in the market. Your current affairs should be strong. Your general knowledge should be strong. You should be knowing about what is what, and you should be knowing about, like, for example, a lot of companies, what you guys told you wanted to do, that there's a lot of companies in the market already. For example, some of your friend wanted to build a platform for influencers, right? So basically companies don't work with that way. Companies, what they do is they outsource their entire promotions to some agencies. So agencies are the one who's going to take care of complete thing, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, one is you have to identify the problem. Then is you have to be aware of what is happening all around you in the entire world. In today's world, if you're not updated, for example, there's a new show which has come up, Shark Tank India. Anybody's watching that? Shark Tank India? Anybody's watching it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you should keep on seeing a lot of things. You should keep on visiting a lot of places. You should attend a lot of meetups. You should be there on, particular platforms, particular groups where you're going to see what people are trying to do, right? So you can understand what people are doing, what I'm doing. Is it somebody has already done this, or is it something already outdated I'm trying to try? So you should always keep yourself updated. So two things what I've told you right now. One is you should identify the problem perfectly, which you should know your problem well. Then you should be aware about your current affairs or general knowledge or what is happening all around you. If these two things you don't do, forget about business plan, forget about your startup, forget about everything. And if there is somebody who's there here just for the sake of attendance, you don't want to learn, it's not going to help you, what I'm trying to tell you. If somebody is there who's gonna want to start up your own startup, if somebody is there who's gonna build a business plan, I'll tell you a few things. You might not start your own startup, but during this process, what you do is you build yourself, you build a lot of your own skills. Where we had done a research long back, seeing that people students who's gonna be more the startup mindset or the entrepreneurial mindset, those students get placed more faster than the other students. This is what we had seen 5 years back when we did a small research. So students with an entrepreneurial mindset, student with a startup mindset, who's gonna work on that, they're getting placed more faster than somebody else, right? There's also one research what we have done. So either you're gonna start your own startup or you'll land in a beautiful job. Okay, so first things first, always remember, identify the problem correctly, and you should always be aware of what is happening, what is not happening, because competition is very, 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 very high. Okay, for example, today you might think this is what is my idea, tomorrow somebody would have already built it. Okay, so we actually, I'll tell you what happened, why competition is so big. So we were working on an idea on 2012. In 2012 we were working on an idea. The idea what we had was, those times WhatsApp was new. The idea what we had was, we wanted to do short news, like one paragraph or two to three lines, and send it to students, which we were doing. We were sending it out every day for almost 3,000 students. We were sending almost 3,000 students every day in WhatsApp. We used to send them the important news, some 5 to 10 news. This is the important news of the day, which we were doing in 2012. Okay, then I'm not from technical background, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a computer science background, I'm basically a commerce background student, right? So I don't know how to build an app, I don't know how to build more of technical part I'm not aware of, building an app, building a website, all that. So basically we had a partner who was an MCA guy. I'm an MBA. He was an MCA friend. So we were working together to build a website, to build something. So what happened, in middle he quit and he went away. But the idea what we had was, we wanted to do an app where the app, instead of we sending in a WhatsApp, we wanted to send it through an app, all the short news. So after 2014, we see there's one more app called as News in Shorts, which most of you use today, in Shorts, right? So in Shorts is valued more than 500 crores today, right? So because I was not technically strong, we were not able to do. But that idea, we worked on it. We were already implemented in 2012 itself. So what I'm trying to say you here is, you might have a very good idea, but there are a lot of different things which is needed for your ideas to work, or for your that problems to work, or you're trying to fix a problem that's to work. I'm sure most all the students will have an InShots app on your phone. How many of you have InShots app on your phone today? Do you guys know there's an app called as InShots?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So though that idea we had done long back, but I couldn't implement because we were not that technically strong, right? So why I'm telling you all this is, when you have a plan, when you have an idea, it's not that it's gonna work. To make it work, there are a lot of different factors. Okay, lot of different factors which you should identify correctly, which I'm going to tell you slowly, step by step. I'll tell you what is what. I have a sample template of, if at all you want to start up, what all you have to do, right? But first 3 things: identify the problem. If at all you want to make a note of it. You should know the problem well. Next one, you should be aware of your surroundings well. You should be aware of your current affairs, or your general knowledge should be very strong. Should be very strong. That means what? You should know what is happening everywhere. Okay. Then next thing, you should always do a market survey. Before you have an idea, you have a plan, you should always do a market survey. Okay, you want, for example, you want to write a business plan only. Okay, for the sake of getting a prize money, you want to write a business plan. Okay, that also you have to make a market survey. Market survey means not like the questionnaires what you do for your projects. I know how your projects questionnaire most of you do. Questionnaire you only prepare, answers you only put and done. No, not like that. You have to actually go meet that particular segment of customers and talk to them. Okay, you have to go and meet that particular kind of people and talk to them. What do they do, what they don't do. So market survey in the sense, you have to do a questionnaire, you have to go and meet them. For example, when we started our own startup, we individually went and met almost more than 4,000 participants. 4,000 participants we met. Almost we took 6 to 7 months. So we went more than 4 to 5,000 participants we went. So what it helped us was, it helped us to know more of, the ground reality. So you might think everything is rocket science, but only when you get it to the ground, you'll understand what is the actual reality is all about. Right. So always doing a market survey is very, 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 very damn important. That is going to help you to understand, will your product going to work or will your products not going to work? What customers like, what customers don't like, what people are trying to find for, this is what they wanted or this is not what they wanted. Right. So understanding the problem, then understanding the general knowledge of current affairs. You should know what is happening all around, especially in the business world. Then doing a proper market research or market survey is a very, very, very important. Before you even think of business plan, this all three things, or if at all you want to become an entrepreneur, if at all you want to become you want to start your own startup, these three things are very, very, very important. Okay. Without this, you can't go ahead. Okay. So always have these three things in mind. Okay. So coming back to market survey, if anybody wants to write a business plan, if anybody is participating in the competition which is coming up ahead, okay, if at all you want to do that, I would suggest please do a market survey. See, market survey to start with, you can do a small one where you can ask your close circle. And when I say market survey, it should be minimum of 200 people, minimum to minimum. But at least, if at all you ask me, at least you should do a majority sample to understand, at least go meet a lot of people whom you don't even know. Okay. So you'll understand a lot of different things. And there are a lot of people who's not going to say no to you. Okay. So there are many people who's going to help you. There's LinkedIn, for example, there's LinkedIn, which you can connect to a lot of people, ask them, interview them, people who has already done that particular job or people who are already there in that market. You have to do. So I'm stressing on market surveys so much because that's very important, which will give you a lot of ideas, a lot of techniques, a lot of tricks to start building your business plan. Okay. So without that, you can't start. It's all about theoretical. It's all about Google copy paste what you're going to do. Okay. So if at all actually you want to start something, first identify the problem, know what is happening all around you, then do a market survey to understand what people are trying to do. For example, we did a market survey. I'll tell you one fact, which you will also agree with. Okay. So what we did was we did predominantly our market is into students. We are into training. Okay. What we do is we are majorly into training. So that's what we do. So what we did was we asked a lot of students, almost 4,000 students, what we asked. So we asked in one semester, how much do you spend for your own personal use? And how much do you spend for your, you're upgrading your skills or studying or to learn something new? So majority of students said, on an average, they spend at least 5 to 10,000 rupees every month for their mobile phone recharge, for the movies, for the fuel, everything, food, get everything. Majority of them said, on an average, they should spend 5 to 10,000 rupees on all of this. But not even 1,000 rupees was spent, not month-wise. In the entire one semester, most of them didn't even spend 1,000 rupees on learning something new. Maybe that's buying a book, or maybe that's learning a new skill, or maybe that's attending a new class, anything. Nobody spent more than 1,000 rupees for the entire semester. Okay. I hope you guys also agree with that. Do you guys also agree with that? So what are you going to spend in your entire semester? Do you even spend 10% on learning something new? Do you spend? I'm asking you a question. In one entire semester, you spend for your books, you spend for your mobile phones, you spend for your movie tickets, you spend for food, you spend for traveling, you spend money for so much. Out of that, do you even spend 10 to 5% on your studies, on your upgrading yourself, on your upskilling yourself? Do you do that? Yes or no? Guys, I'm waiting. You also have a chat box to reply. Do you do that? Yes or no? See, I see a lot of more no's here. Yeah, that's common. That's why when you do market research, you know how your markets are. You know how people are. You know what they want. You know what they don't want. That's why it's always important. It's always important you do a market survey. This market survey we did 5 years back. It still today, that thing stays same because we know how things are, right? So that's why doing a market survey at start, it's going to help you a lot to understand a lot of different things. Right. So those all want to start your own startup. Those all want to build a very good business plan, and things will fall in place. But first, start with a market survey and if any help is needed from my end, always feel free to ask. I'm always there to help. But you should start from there. Market survey is the first thing where you have to start from. Okay. And those of you are going to Manthan, those of you are going to FKCCI is Manthan. If at all you don't have a market survey, they don't even see your presentation. They don't even, you're out in the first round. Okay. So that's how competition is there. I'll come back to that Manthan FKCCI later in the last half an hour, not now. But first, let me tell you about a couple of things about business plan. Okay. So first 3 things what we have discussed so far. First 3 things about the problem. You should be aware of what you should try to solve a problem always. Then you should be aware of your current general knowledge, your current affairs, the business world, what is all is happening, what different businesses are doing. Then you should always have a good market survey done. These are the first 3 things before you even start writing a business plan, right? Any queries so far before we get into the template of business plan? Any queries so far, anyone? Any questions you want to ask so far with this 3 points, what I've told you? Is there any questions you want to ask? No? No questions? Is there any questions from your end so far? No? Okay. So now then let's go ahead. Then let's go ahead. Then let me share you a template. I feel this template is more good enough. And I've told you in business plan, there are 2 things. If at all you're presenting it to someone, if at all you're presenting your idea to someone, that is called as a pitch. Pitch is a summary of your business plan. Pitch is your summary of your business plan. And nowadays, in startup world, pitch is the business plan. Okay, in startup world, pitch is the business plan. And business plan is the actual detailed one where even every one number is written, where exact everything is there. Okay, that means what? Business plan is more of detailed plan. Pitch is more of a summary so that you can tell it to somebody for them to convince your idea what it is about. Okay. So now going ahead, let me share you the template now. So what template I'll be talking with you guys is this template was shared by Ratan Tata himself. So Ratan Tata is one of the prominent investors, if at all you don't know. He's been investing in a lot of startups. So what he did was he was seeing a lot of startup people in India coming up and talking to him about, what is this? 1 second. Let me just present it off. Oh, yeah. So what he's seeing was he was seeing a lot of startup people who used to come to him and talk to him about a lot of business plan, what they have and all. So he thought these people are not even conveying their idea correctly. So this is what you needed. So what he did himself, from his office, that's why you see here office of Mr. Ratan Tata. Okay, this is not done by me. This is exactly given by Ratan Tata. So what he thinks is this is the thing which you have to include, and I also agree with, which everybody agrees with. If at all they have built a business plan. Yeah, so agree with, so that main key things which is needed for you to pitch your plan. So I'm talking with something solid. Okay, so I'm going to explain you each one of the slide one by one, step by step, so that you know how things to do, what to do, what not to do, one by one. Okay, so first things first, basically when you as I've told you, so basically with whomever you talk to or whomever you present with, you're not presenting you don't call it business plan, you call it your pitch. Your pitch deck is what you call. Okay, your pitch is what you generally say. Okay, or nowadays business plan, they don't want to call it as business plan, they also call it as pitch. You can consider it both ways. Right? So now, so whenever you want to start a pitch or you want to prepare your pitch, what things to include and what things not to include, right? So let's go with one by one. All of you can see this PPT which I've shared, no? Can you guys see this? Yeah. So first things first. Yeah. So first things first, basically what we're trying to do here is, whenever most of you, what you're trying to do is you're trying to prepare something where you want to present it to somebody else, right? So when you try to do this, first thing is what is actually a pitch desk, which I already told you. It is a short overview of your business idea, often used when presenting to investors and raising funds, right? So this is what pitch desk we call. Now nobody presents their entire business plan. Okay, so I'll come to business plan and tell you what it is about. So they all talk about their pitch only, and for presenting a pitch, max to max you have 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes if at all you want to talk to somebody about your plan. And if you're talking to very big people, in the sense like the very people who are connected, influential or investors, max to max you have 5 minutes. Max to max you have 5 minutes. So within this 5 minutes, or within this 10 to 15 minutes, is what you have to convey your idea. Okay. And whenever you prepare your pitch desk, or whenever you prepare your plan, or whenever you start with your plan, you should always plan it. You should have a 1 minute version of your plan. 1 minute. If at all somebody asks you, tell me what is your idea in 1 minute or 30 seconds, you should know how to tell about it. If at all somebody asks you, if at all you should prepare a plan for 5 minutes, 10 and 15. So you should have a different version, same idea. How are you going to convey it in this amount of time? If at all you have 1 minute, how is that you're going to convey? If you have 5 minutes, if you have 10 minutes, if you have 15 minutes, how are you going to convey your idea to somebody else? Okay. So this is what you have to prepare with. First thing, prepare 3 kinds of same thing, 3 to 4 kinds, 1 minute one version, 5 minutes version, and 10 minutes version. Generally, if it's 15 minutes, 10 minutes is for pitch and 5 minutes is for question and answer, right? So this is what it's about, right? So now let's go ahead and see what things are important, what things are basically needed, or when you do something like this, what are the basic requirements? Like this is you must have this. What is all this? So first things first, I have already told you about this. Problem is very important. So you should always try to, you should see, you're more telling about the idea what you have. It's more telling about what problem you're trying to solve. Okay. So you should be very clear with what problem you're trying to solve. Okay. So you should always, whenever you plan to write a business plan, your problem statement, or what kind of problem you're trying to solve, or, with valid life, real examples. Okay. That one you have to be clear first. Without this, you can't go ahead. Which I have already told you why problem is very important. Understanding problem is very important. Understanding problem with real life examples is very important. So when you talk about problems in your slide here, when you talk about your problems about your slide here, it's more about you have to talk about your real world problems with a real life example, right? With the real world problem with real life example, so that it's easy for anybody to understand and relate to. Okay. So that's the first thing. So understanding the problem, or the problem what you're trying to solve for. You have to tell to the person sitting that side, what is the problem you're trying to solve for, or validate it with real examples also. I'll share this PPT after the class. I'll share this PPT with all of you after the class. Don't worry. Okay. I'll share the PPT after the class, but do make sure before you start your pitch, first thing, even in your business plan, your problem statement, or what problem you're trying to address, you have to be clear with. Okay. That's the first thing. Next, going ahead. So what is your solution? So this is the problem which is there happening in the entire world. So what is the solution? What is your solution? What is that your idea? What is that you have come up with? How effectively you can solve? Somebody said, in bikes, she wanted to include this kind of zip umbrella kind of thing, right? Those things are already there in China and Japan. But why it is not working in India? But if at all you don't know, in India also you have those kinds of products available, but people are not using it. Okay. So why it is not working? So that you can only understand when you do a market survey, when you do a market research, you can understand why that's not going to work. For example, McDonald's introduced a lot of burgers kind of thing first time in India, which was not available in US. Okay, when they entered India, they changed their entire menu structure so that it can suit to the Indian culture, right? So why companies change like that, right? So if at all you have a solid market survey, market research done, you'll know why. Right. So when you know what problem you're trying to solve, then you have to also explain about your solution, how good your solution is, or how good the plan which you have done. Now, you have the problem, you have the solution. You might think, With the solution, what you have, you might think the solution is the solution, this is gonna work. See, most of the startups when you start, or most of the ideas when you have, okay, so most of the ideas, you might think it is the one, but it might not work at all. We have seen, first when we started, all we wanted to do was we wanted to sell magazines. We wanted to do digital magazines, and we wanted to sell digital magazines to all the students, but never we made money out of it. And never we sold for free, but never we made money out of it. So that means what, you have a problem to address. You might think today this is solution. So for example, you have one solution today, you might think this will work, but actually when you start working, you have a different solution which comes up. You have a different ways of solution where you can use that to solve that particular problem, right? So when you identify a problem correctly, so you should address with your, what is your solution with. Your solution might iterate. We call it in the business world, we call it something called as iteration or pivoting. We call it something called as iterations, or we also call it as something called as pivoting. So what does this means is, for example, see, now you have seen Ola cars. So Ola, there's a Bounce. They were all doing aggregator service before. Now Ola has come up with electric. Bounce has come up with electric vehicle. Why? All of a sudden, why? Or for example, PhonePe, which you guys were trying to use, Paytm, which you guys were trying to use. Earlier, that was only to send money to one person to one more person through wallets. But now they have a bike insurance. Now they have, you can pay a railway bill. You can pay so many different things on PhonePe and Paytm, right? You have this, you've seen a lot of ideas like this. Why they're diversifying it? So this is what we call it as. We call it as iterations, or we call it something called as pivoting. What they're trying, for example, Snapdeal. If at all you don't know Snapdeal, all of you heard of Snapdeal? Snapdeal, you heard of it? Flipkart, Snapdeal. That's what the popular ones are. So Snapdeal, they have pivoted to a new company name now. The company name only they've changed, and they've renamed the company name. They're now providing, delivery services within 10 minutes, which they claim, right? So within 10 minutes, you order something, within 10 minutes, it's there at your doorstep, right? So what people do is, when they start with, they think this is what it will work, but as you slowly start working on it, there'll be a lot of different iterations which happens. So there'll be a lot of pivoting what you do. Then after you start really working only, you'll find out what is what. But compared to your business plan, you should always explain clearly what is your problem and what is your solution you're trying to address. What is the problem all the people are trying to face, all the people are facing it, and what is the solution you're trying to give them. These two things are very, very important. If these two slides, you're not able to attract the attention of the user or an investor or a judge, your business plan is gone. Your business plan is gone. Okay. You might have a lot of big things. If these two things you're not able to convince, that is gone. Unless and except you have tested a prototype and you had a very solid revenue, they'll listen. Or else, if these two things are not solidly done, very, very important, your business plan is gone. Okay. So any doubts, anybody till here? Two things which I've discussed in writing a business plan, what is important. So one is understanding a problem statement and conveying what is your solution, or what is the solution for the problem which you've identified. And this can be only done if at all you have done your market survey, if at all you have done your market research. If not, you can't do it, right? And if at all you're aware about the current trends in the market, what is happening, what is not happening. Flipkart was started by somebody seeing Amazon. So they saw there was a company called as Amazon in the US when they were working. So they came back to India and they started something called as Flipkart. So you know where Flipkart is there today. So there's a company called as Uber in US, UK. So there was a person working in US. So he came back to India. Then he started something called as Ola, Taxi for Sure. I don't know if at all you guys know Taxi for Sure. That was also a very popular app which was bought by Ola back then, right? So this Red Bus, right? So there's all ideas that, for example, what problems need not to be very unique. So whenever you talk about ideas or whenever you talk about problems, it doesn't have to be very unique. It can also be something which already people are trying to do, which you can replicate it and it can be done much more better. Okay, which can be, for example, you've seen a lot of ideas like this, Olas, Ubers. You've seen a lot of examples like this, Airbnb, for example, Airbnb, what Oyo rooms, what you have today, the same model, we had something called as Airbnb earlier. In US, UK, we had a model called as Airbnb. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, if at all you have an idea, if at all you know the problem, if it's very unique, that's good. If not, you can solve the current problems only which is there in the world, and you can see how other people are trying to solve the problem, and you can be more unique in that approach, right? So when Flipkart launched, they were the first people to launch with cash on delivery. Amazon didn't have cash on delivery. Amazon never had cash on delivery. Only after seeing the competition in India, which Flipkart was giving, then they started cash on delivery in India. Or else in India also, when they started, they didn't have cash on delivery in starting, right? So these are the few key things which gonna separate or differentiate you from what others are trying to do, right? So anything you want to discuss so far? Any questions you have from your end? Any questions you have from your end so far, guys? No questions? Anything you want to discuss? Any questions from your end? No? So far, is it clear? We have only talked about a couple of things. So when you want to write your business plan, your problem statement should be good. Your market survey should be good. General knowledge should be good. And when you actually start your template, in your template, first thing you always include is the problem statement and what is your solution to that particular problem, right? Clear so far, all of you? Right? Clear? Okay. Next one. So after you've told your problem and after you've told your solution, you should have something called as USP. USP is the one where you stand out with. Okay. For example, if you don't know, Amazon, like Amazon, there were a lot of e-commerce companies also in US at that time. Amazon became popular only for the reason because it gave the customer something called as customer reviews. It introduced something called as customer reviews. That was their USP in starting. Okay. So when they used to sell something, they used to allow other customers to write the review about the product, what they have bought. That changed a lot on the e-commerce segment, right? So each of them have a USP of their own. For example, you go to different companies. For example, you have Uber, you have Ola, you have Flipkart, you have Amazon. Each of them have their own unique selling proposition. They have their own USPs, what they're trying to do, right? So you should identify what is your USP in this particular market. So when you're trying to find or solve a problem, your USP should be defined well, right? So if at all you don't have a USP, you have that's how you stand out in the market. That's how you stand out. For example, if why do we need a USP? If at all you ask, why do we need a USP? When you start something, it doesn't mean that somebody else also can start. For example, there is one hotel where you like dosa. There is one hotel where you like biryani more. There is one hotel where you like the chicken kebab more. There is one hotel where you like the grilled chicken more. Or there's one hotel where you like that particular gulab jamun more. Why? Because that's what they're good at doing. Right. So unique selling proposition should be very good. Once you should know what you're standing out in the market from. There, for example, that you have seen a lot of biryani hotels popping up in the entire Bangalore nowadays, right? But there are only few good ones which are there. There are many of them, but there are only few good ones which have a good taste and good quality and all that. So that is their unique selling proposition. That's their USP, what they have, right? So USP is the one where you stand out from your competition. You stand out where that can't be replicated by anybody else. That can't be copied by anybody. For example, you start a so you start a hotel somewhere. If at all it clicks, if at all it runs very well, what happens? There are 10 different hotels which opens on the same road. But if at all you don't have a USP, your business is gone, right? So that's why it's always important that your USP should be highlighted, and you should know what is the USP is, and you should know also that you're going to stand out from this and nobody else can copy this particular USP what you have. So USP is going to play a very important role, right? If at all you want to quickly make a note of it in your template, what all you have to include. So first, your problem statement. Next, your solution to the problem. Next, what is your USP is what you have to note. So this is what the three things which you have to keep a note of. Unique selling proposition. That's why that's why you stand out in business. So nobody else should copy your USP. That should be that's solid, right? So that's very important in the business plan, right? Moving ahead. So you should also always understand your competition and barrier to market. So you should always understand the competition. That means what? For example, you're producing product A, or you're doing product service A. So you should know how many of them are already doing this service in the market and how they are doing this service. You should be aware of it, Okay. For example, you want to start up an e-commerce website, or you want to start up that refurbished, clothes website, or you want to start up your own website, which is in some segment. Before doing that, you should also understand what all different people are already there in this competition and what they're already doing. Only when you understand your competition, then only you know where your product stands. Okay. So that's how you can compare your solution with, right? And how easy is it to replicate the solution? And what categories of competitors do you belong to? So that's why you should always understand your competition well. So your understanding your competition only gives you a lot of insights. Understanding your competition only gives you a lot of new ideas. Okay. It will also help you to understand how your idea is good from their idea, what they have. Right. So understanding competition is very important. And there's something called as barrier to entry. Barrier to entry means you have an idea to start, but if at all you want to get that idea to a market, what are the restrictions you have? Is it the money? Is it the resource? Is it the raw materials? Is it the human resource? Is it some licenses you have to get? Is it some patent you have to get? Is it some accreditations you have to do? So you should know what is a barrier to market. There's a lot of businesses, there's a lot of big businesses which work where replicating that business is very easy. But you can't do it because they have a lot of licenses involved. There's a lot of accreditations involved. There are a lot of certifications involved, which you can't get it easily. Okay. There's a lot of businesses which can replicate it easily, that can be replicated. But the competition already has a patent for it. So when they have a patent, you can't replicate it. Okay. When they have those particular licenses, for you to get that licenses, it will take time. For you to get that certificates done, it will take some time. For you to get that collaborations done, it will take some time. Right. So understanding the competition, understanding your barrier to entry is very, very important. Right. So without this, you'll not know where you stand. So if at all you want to know where you stand, you should always understand your competition. You should always understand from the competition what will be your barrier to entry. If at all you want to get into the market, if at all you will be getting into the market. Now, what things you might not be good at, what things for you it will be difficult with, right? So this is what very important thing, right? Any questions, anybody so far? Any questions, anybody so far? Any questions, anybody so far, guys? No questions. Okay. So what all we have discussed so far we have discussed while writing a template, while writing a business plan, what is very important is your problem statement, explaining your problem statement, explaining your solution of the problem. So how you are going to solve it, and how unique is your idea, and what is the present competition, and what are the barriers to entries which is already there. What are the barriers to entries which is already there? Now, next one, after you do all of this, you should also have something called as revenue model. Revenue model is very, very important. Basically, if at all you have seen the movie called as Founder, how many of you have seen the movie called as Founder? The movie is about McDonald's. How many of you have seen the movie called as Founder? Anybody have seen? The movie is about McDonald's, how McDonald's was started. Anybody have seen it? No, you guys have not seen it. Guys, anybody have seen a movie called as Founder? There is a movie called as Founder. Basically, that movie is all about how McDonald's was started, how they started and all that. Nobody has seen it. You have to go and see it. It's a very good movie. So basically what they see is for McDonald's in US, for McDonald's, the revenue model is not from the burger what they sell. The revenue model is from the real estate what they have. Okay. So that's a very good movie to watch from. That means what, they don't make money from the burgers. They make money from the franchises. So what they do basically is, let me tell you what they do basically is, let me tell you. In US, when McDonald's started, when McDonald's started in US, what they started to do was, preliminarily they thought they'll make money from burgers. When they sell the burgers, they thought they'll make money. But slowly they understood money is not happening there. Then when they started giving franchises, to different people. You should take the franchise. So then they thought, when these people give the franchise to somebody else, what they thought, they'll buy the land where the franchise is going to put the shop. They're going to buy the land and the franchisee is going to pay them back the rent for the land. They are also getting the franchisee fee, and they're also getting month on month the rent for the land. So basically, they were running a real estate company at the end, right? Till today, that's what they do. So those revenue models is very, very interesting to learn for. Okay, if at all you have not seen Founder movie, please go back today after classes are done. Do watch it. It's a very interesting movie to watch. So revenue model is very important in your startup or in your business. Like how money will come from, who's going to pay the money. For example, somebody said, you wanted to, do a refurbished cloth and you want to sell. How is that revenue model is going to work? If at all you give discounts, if at all you refurbish, if at all you do whatever washing, what do you call it? So if at all you do that, the cost goes much more higher, right? And with that cost, somebody can buy a new cloth itself. And if at all you give more discount, you might not do profit. It's all waste. You'll get into loss, right? Or somebody called, a lot of ideas what you guys said. You should be very clear with your own revenue model, like how the money is going to come, who's going to pay the money for, and how will we run this, where the money is coming from. So that revenue model, identifying the revenue model is very, very important, and you should be very smart in doing this. Okay, that's what they say. How do you make money off your solution? Right, that is one part. You're telling in one slide how the money is coming in, how the cash is flowing into business. Right, one more part is you have to have, for example, different kinds of revenue model are subscription model, like how your Netflix works. Every year, every month you're going to pay. Or for example, how your Google and Facebook works, ad based. Or direct sales, where you directly pay for it and you buy, right? So you should identify your revenue model correctly. Yeah, any doubt? Okay, you should identify your revenue models correctly. Then, so one slide is about your revenue model and one slide is about your projections. If this is your cash which is coming into the business, in next 3 to 5 years, where you will go ahead, that's where projections also you have to do. So when you have a revenue model, so you have, let me just tell you one more time. One slide which talks about how the money is coming into the business, One slide talks about the projections. So in next 3 years, how your revenue is going to go ahead. Then your cash burning, your balance sheet or your expenses. So where your cash burn is happening. That means what? Where you're spending your money every month, where the money is going ahead. That means it will tell you about how much cash flow is needed every month to maintain your business. See, for example, you might have a revenue model where it will get you 1 crore revenue a year, but every month you might need 10 lakh, and every month you're not getting 10 lakh from this. So your cash flow, how much cash flow is needed to generate that 1 crore, right? So there's something called as cash burning. There's something called as projections. There's something called as revenue model. There are 3 slides which you have to include in revenue model. So understanding how the money is coming from, understanding your projections, and understanding how much you're burning at what rate. So whenever you go for any investments, so you should know how much cash flow is needed. Basically, why people go for investment is because they have an idea which is running. It's already doing so much of business. They have to reach this much stage. To reach that much stage, they don't have the cash in hand. That's why they go for investors, where the investors puts in the money so that they can grow ahead. They can reach that particular target what they have. That's where investor comes in and put in the money in the business, right? So revenue models, understanding the revenue model, understanding the projections, understanding your cash burning is a very, very important if at all you want to start up. And that's very important when you include in your business plan. At least 3 to 4 slides or 2 to 3 slides should be there on your revenue model, which talks about how you get the money from, what's going to happen in next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years for your business, and what are your top cash burn reasons. And here you also explain about your verticals where you're going to also expand. So today you might have product A, but in next years, what all different kinds of products you're going to release, right? So quickly, let's go back and see what all we have understood. So far we understood, first things first, the problem statement, then how you're going to solve that problem. Then while solving the problem, what is your unique selling proposition? What is your USP? Then what are the competition and what is the barriers to entry. You have to understand, you have to talk about this in your slides. Then you have to talk about your revenue model. If you talk about your revenue model, like how actually your business is making money, where it will go in next 5 years, and where the money is getting spent more, is what you have to talk about, right? Any doubts, anybody so far with the slides? Anybody have any doubts? Anybody have any doubts so far?
Sir?
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that top cash burn reason, sir? Literally.
Top guess, that's what I was saying. For example, you have a concept called as something called as working capital. Correct? You know about working capital? What is working capital? You know what is working capital?
Yes. Day-to-day expenses with the spend and income.
Correct. So basically what working capital means, what every month I'm spending 10 lakh rupees. Okay. Every month I'm spending 10 lakh rupees. That means what? For next 6 months, I should have a working capital generally. I should have a working capital of almost 50 to 60 lakh I should have. Okay. Assuming that I'll generate some revenue also in between. So if I have this much money, I'm confident that the business will run smoothly for next 4 to 5 months. Correct. So what are the cash burn reasons are? For example, when you have this 10 lakh, out of this 10 lakh, I'm spending almost 7 lakh on something every month. On one particular thing, I'm spending almost 7 lakh. So what are your top cash burn reasons? Why you're spending so much on this? Can we avoid it? Can we bring it down from 7 to 3 or from 7 to 2? How can we do it? For example, when company is going to outsource something, that's going to cost them X. If at all they're going to produce in-house, they're going to cost them half of the X. Correct. So what are your top cash burn reasons? Why you're burning so much cash? Why do you need so much of money? For example, when you do projections, when you do some projections, that means what? Year 1, you have so much of revenue. Year 2, you must have so much of sales. Year 3, you have so much of sales. For example, year 1, if you have 1 crore, year 2, you have 10 crore, year 3, if you have 100 crores, to reach that, you need some cash also in hand, no? And you need to burn that cash also, no? That is called as top cash burn reasons, where you're burning your cash to reach this much of revenue. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any other doubts, guys? Any other doubts, guys? No doubts? Okay. Okay. So going ahead. Next one. So you have your problems understood. You have your solution understood. You have your USP understood. You have your competition and barrier to entry understood. You have your revenue model also understood. Next, very important thing, your target market. Your target market. Whom you're targeting? What kind of customer you're trying to target? So when we talk about target market, you should know your size of the market. Basically, how the size of the market versus the percentage you are trying to target. Means this is the size of the market. You're only targeting this much, or you're only targeting this much and this much. For example, generally what companies do is in India, when they start in metro cities. They start in metro cities, especially in Bangalore, Pune, and Delhi. Whenever any company, any startup start in India, they start in metro cities. Predominantly, they're going to start in Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi, or Bangalore, Pune, and Delhi, or Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai, and Delhi. That's where they predominantly start from. So what they're doing in the entire India, they're starting in few target markets. So why do they do that? Because they know there they're going to make more sales. There they can grow more. Yeah. So the granular profiling of your customer. That means what? Understanding who's the actual customer who's going to buy a particular product. For example, their age, their geography, their purchase habits, their personal traits. What channels will you use to get this market? Right. So understanding target market is very important. That means what? How big is your market? First, in this, where you're targeting, and in this targeting, what kind of customers you're trying to target, what age of customers you're trying to target, what behavior of customers you're trying to target, and what channels you are using to target them. What kind of ways, or for example, you're using online mode, you're using offline mode, you're using affiliate mode, you're using some commission mode, agent mode, what kind of mode you're using to get to that particular market, right? So understanding the target market is very important. That means what? Target market is the place, for example, target market is the one where it tells you how big the market is and how much the competitors are already there and how much you can also get out of the market, right? And understanding what kind of customers you're trying to target on and how will you reach them. Through which channels? This is what is your target. See, when we talk about all of this theoretical, no, theoretical, it's also looks very simple, very clean, very neat. But practically, it's not that so easy. It's not that neat. For practically, there's a lot of work happens. For each of them, if at all you want to do practically, what we are trying to talk about now, what we are talking about, for each slide, if at all you want to do practically, you have to spend at least one week's time only on that, just to understand what is that. Okay, that big these concepts are. That big these concepts are. Yeah. So on paper, when we talk, it's very easy. Okay. But and actually, when we start doing it, we really understand the crux of all this matter. Why this is important, why that is important, and all that. Right. So next, understanding the target market. So understanding who your customers are, how big is your market, and what ways you're gonna sell your product in the market, which channels you're gonna use in your target market is very, very important. Moving ahead. So you're going to actually introduce your product and service. See, this slides order can be different. It's not like you have to go in the same order. Okay, you can always change the order of the slide. But these are the points which is very important in your business plan. In your business plan, these are all things. Understanding all of these things is very, very important. Next is your product or service. That means what? You explain what is actually your product. You explain what is actually your features of the product. You're explaining in layman terms. That means what? You're explaining in layman terms where anybody can understand. Anybody can understand. Ideally, anyone reading this slide should understand your product and service. That means what? When you talk about your product and service, any common man also should be able to understand what is this, how does it work, how to use it. If that much easy you make, your product will be sold high. If not, it will be difficult to sell. Right. So explaining your product is also a very important thing in your slide. So what is your actual product? Where this product is trying to solve the problem what we were having, trying to solve what we are trying to have. And this is the USP of my product which we have here. Yeah. So one slide should talk about completely about your product and service. And that particular slide, when you talk about, it should be about helping people to also to understand in layman terms that anybody should be able to understand it as soon as they see it, as soon as they listen to it. Okay, that's very important. So what we have seen now, we have understood target market and we've understood about your product and service. There should be one slide or two slides on target market. There should be one slide on your product and service. Then say something called as milestones. There's something called as milestones. So whenever you get into some business plan or whenever you get into product somebody, you should always build we call something called as prototype. We call something called as prototype. So before you build a business plan or when you're making a business plan, it's always good, it's always preferable if at all you also have build a prototype and tested it in the market. So your business plan will always have much more higher receiving or much more higher value if you have already built a prototype of it and if it's already been tested in the market. If it's already been tested in the market. If there's no prototype, it's no tested, that means what is just you're just speaking black and white paper. That's all. There's no proof that your plan is gonna work. Okay. So whenever you want to talk about your business plan, you should always would have built a prototype of it and you should have tested in the market. So milestones means what? Milestones can be only written when you have a prototype, when you have tested it. That's where we call it as also pilots, prototypes, patents, etc. Yeah. So what are the milestones you have done so far? In your, for example, you have a idea, at least have you built a website? At least you have a prototype. At least do you have one customer? At least do you have made so much of sales? At least do you even have 1 rupee of revenue yet? So what are your milestones so far? What has been done? Also, you have to tell. So, and what is the milestone you are seeing for the next 5 years? The projections of your milestone, where you want to go ahead. And milestones from what you would be go if at all you have funded. If at all somebody funds you, so how you're going to go ahead next? What all you're going to achieve next? So milestone means it's not all of this should be covered. Any few of them also can be covered as per your ideas and as per your case. Case to case it changes. Just that before building a milestone, you should have built a prototype. You should have tested in the market. The business plan which has a prototype built, has a tested in market, is more valuable than a business plan which is just on pen and paper, right? Just on pen and paper, it has less value. The business plan which has a prototype built and tested, even in month and FKCCI, when we go to this FKCCI month and event, there if at all you've not have that most of them who's going to come, they already have the prototype done. They already have tested that in the market. Let me tell you, they have the prototype, very good prototype done, and they would have already tested in the market, right? So you guys must have yeah. I'll talk about efficacy Manthan later. In the last half an hour, I'll talk about that. So first now, milestones have to be mentioned. Milestones have to be mentioned. Then, if at all you've got some funding so far, or how much money you've invested so far, or if anybody have invested the money in you, so you have to talk about the particular funding part also. Like if anybody is invested, or if you have got some investments, you've got some angel investor. For you, it might not be important as of now, but as a business plan, funding where money is invested so far, who's putting money? Is it you guys are putting money, or if it's somebody investor is there, that also has to be mentioned clearly, right? Then very important thing is team. Very important thing is team. So when any business plan is seen, or any investor wants to invest in any company, or when you write any business plan, the business plan will stand out, or business plan will be validated only if it has a right team. You have a plan to do. If you don't have a proper team in place, it's not going to work. So this is a slide where you're going to introduce your team members and tell why they matter. For example, while building a team, what happens is, you should have particular things. If person A, he should have a certain skill sets. Person B should have a certain skill sets. So his skill set should add value to business. His skill set should add value to business. It doesn't mean both of them should have the same skill. He should have a different skill. He should have a different skill. Then you have a different skills on table, which will add value to business. Okay. So it's not like same person, same skills only. If all four of them have, it will not add value to business. Each team member, that's why you have, technical head, marketing head, management head, production head, operations head. Why do you have all that? So when you have a team, so all these heads gonna help you to build your business more solid. So in this particular slide, you're gonna explain what is your team and how do you stand out, and why you guys are so. That's why if at all you see a lot of these IIMs, a lot of these IIT students get funded very easily, because they build a solid team. Their idea might not be great, but they'll have a solid team in place where the investor will know this team's gonna work, this team's gonna build something very great, right? So team plays a very important role in business or any startup you're gonna start. But as per your business plan is concerned, identifying a good team and each team member, what skills they are having, identifying that and jotting it down is very, very important, right? So understanding your team is very important. Going ahead, Net. So there are a couple of things which you have to keep in mind while writing a business plan. Couple of things that you have to keep in mind in writing a business plan. So validate every possible slide with data. That means every slide, every number, every name, every word you want to put in, you should have a proper proof for it. Numbers never lie. So you should have every slide backed up with data. It usually not a great idea because you think so. You might think it's a great idea, but it not be. But your target market is saying this is going to work. Right? Don't be afraid to recognize that it won't work and change direction or drop it. So don't be ever afraid of when you try to work on an idea. Don't drop it off completely. The right idea will always be next one. That means what? Today you might have one idea. You might think it's great. It might not even work. So don't worry. There may be one more idea tomorrow also. That might work. Right? So always keep finding different ideas. Always keep finding to solve different problems and on. So getting funded doesn't mean not success. There is a lot of startups which have a lot of funding, but till today they have not done profit. Yeah, getting funded does not mean success. Then pitch less like presentation, more like story. That means what? It's always good if at all you present your business plan or your pitch deck in form of a story instead of a presentation. It has more value there, right? It has more connect there. So there's a few things which you have to keep in mind when you present actually to someone. And every template for every business to business, it keeps on changing. For every idea, the pattern keeps on changing. So whatever I've explained you so far is the very important points, which is very much needed when you explain your plan. There are a lot of different things which is needed. There's a lot of different things which is needed, which you always can Google and check it out. But this is the things which we have discussed so far: the problem, the solution, what problem you have, what is the solution, what is your solution, how unique is your solution, and how is your competition, what is the barriers to entry, how is your revenue model going to be, what is your target market, what is your actual product and service, and what are the milestones, and if there's any funding so far. So these points are the key points while writing a business plan. That means what, when you write all of this, when you identify all of this, the remaining things you'll automatically get. That's what it says. This deck is not everything. That means this is not only thing, there is even too much, but these are the important things which you have to keep in mind. What is that? Understanding the problem, or the slide where it talks about the problem, a slide where it talks about what is your solution which you have built, and how unique is your selling proposition, and how competition or barriers to entries. What is the competition? Where is competition? How can you know what kind of barriers to entries is there? And revenue model. In your revenue model, how do you make money from it? What's going to be happening in next 3-4 years? Where are you going to reach? That's very important. Yeah. And what kind of target market you have? In a target market, what kind of people you're trying to talk to? Then what is your actual product, and what is the milestones you have? Right. So these are the few things. These are the few things which you have to carefully, understand in while writing your presentations or writing your business plan. Right. And we all call it pitch. In startup world, we all call it pitch. Right. So pitch, business plan, both are same. While in pitch or in the presentation, whenever you write something, it should be very detailed. If somebody asks you a question, you should know what is what. You should know what is what of that particular plan. Right. So this is a few key important points. And a couple of important things as per only considering FKCCA Manthan. If at all, it's only considering Manthan competition. If anybody is trying to apply for, if you don't have a solid plan, you're not going to clear. You should have a solid plan in place. If you have not built a prototype, there every plan who's going to come, or every competitor who's going to face, or every student who's going to come up with, most of them will have a prototype built and already sold it. They'll also have a revenue in hand. Okay. If at all you want to participate there, if at all you want to win there, your plan has to be very solid, and you should have tested the product. You should have done your market survey. You should have sold it to somebody, and you should have identified all your things, your revenue model, your USP, your product and services, the problem you're trying to solve. So all of this need to be practically tested. Then only you will be able to clear those rounds and you'll be able to win. Okay. Or if not, your idea should be very strong. It should be a very unique idea, which nobody would have tried. And, it should be very unique so that, they'll be convinced that this is the thing which is needed in the market. Right. But always, if at all you ask me, you should do your market survey. You should have tested your prototype. Prototype has to be tested in the market, get the feedback done. So if all of this thing is done, you have more chances of winning that particular competition. Okay. So I have told you so far a couple of basic important things while writing a business plan. This important things is needed when you write a business plan. So now it's more of talking from my end. So you're going to find it all online when you go. So more I want to discuss about, if at all you have any questions in mind, if at all you have any points from your end, please do let me know. I'll tell you about that. Any questions from your end? I have told from my part, when you write a business plan, you need to have a problem, you need to have a solution, you need to have a product, you need to have a target market, you need to have a revenue model, you need to have a cash burn pattern, you need to have your projections done. So these all things are important while writing a plan. This all thing you have to write in your plan. Okay. This I have told you. Now and I have also told you market survey is very important. Then building a prototype is very important. Testing that prototype is also very important. If you have done that, chances of you winning is more, or else no. Okay. So I have told you from my end what all is required. From your end now, if you have any questions, please ask. We'll talk about that more in detail now. Any questions from your end, guys? So my end is done. So now it's more about, if you have some questions, if you have some things to ask, please to ask. I'll help you to understand that much more better. If something you didn't understand in the slide, if something is what you're not able to connect to, if something is not you're able to understand with, please to ask. I'll help you to understand it much better. If you don't ask, I'll not know. I have told everything from my part. Yeah, go ahead. Any doubts from your end, guys? Any doubts from your end? Any questions from your end? From my end, important things: understanding the problem, doing a correct market research, understanding your current affairs well, then building the prototype of your plan, building the prototype of your idea, then testing that in the correct market. If you have done so much, it's very important. For the business plan is concerned, You have to talk about your problem. You have to talk about your solution. You have to talk about your team. You have to talk about your product and service. You have to talk about your revenue model. You have to talk about your target market. You have to talk about your funding. You have to talk about your milestones. You have to talk about your projections. As a business plan is concerned, this all is needed. This all is must. Okay. Now, if you have some questions from your end, please to ask. So Swarna Prakash is asking, sir, could you please tell the difference between the product launch and business plan? So basically, business plan is what entrepreneur or a guy who plans, who writes down something, writes down a plan. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how it's going to work. So business plan will give you more clarity on your idea. That means what? It will help you do when you build a business plan, you only have an idea now. For that idea, while writing a business plan, you'll understand the competition, you'll understand the barriers to entry, you'll understand how much money is needed, you'll understand what kind of team is needed, you'll understand what is the target market. So when you write a business plan, actually, you'll understand all of this. This is what is all needed. And when your product launch means, product launch is more of in product launch, there is a lot of different types. Is it piloting? Piloting means you're just testing it. For testing, you're launching the product in the test market. There is a normal testing market. Actual product launch only happens after you've tested your product. You've tested your product, you have refined it, you have updated it, it's all done, ready. Then you actually launch a product. Product launch is the last stage where you're actually starting your business, where you're actually starting the business. Business plan is where you're writing a plan where to make it more clear for you what is needed, what is there with you today, what is not there with you today. I hope that was clear enough, Swarna. Any other questions? Any other questions, guys? See, business plan, let me tell you, if at all we talk about it, it's all boring. It's only interesting when you actually do. Okay. So that's what I also understood. I also started building my business plan in my third semester MBA. When we built Edupinnacle that time, I did my business plan in my third semester MBA. So you guys are also now the same exact third semester. So it's a very good time for you to start something on your plan, start building something. Or for example, there might be a lot of people who say, sir, I don't have any plans, sir. I don't have any ideas, sir. It's okay, good. But today onwards, try to identify the problems. What problems are trying to face? What problems people are facing, and how it could be solved. Just open up your mind, broaden your mind to think in different ways. See what other people are doing. See what other people are trying to solve. Or go watch that Shark Tank. In Shark Tank, you see a lot of different ideas which comes up. Or go attend a lot of seminars, webinars online about startups or about different companies. Go to a lot of events. Now every event is happening online. You can easily go. Everything is for free. Okay, so you should see all that. You should read newspapers. You should see what is happening. So if at all you don't have an idea, at least you will see this all is there. At least you will come up with an idea in couple of months ahead, right? Yeah. Any doubts from your guys' end? Any doubts from your end, guys? Please ask. Go ahead. Any questions you have from your end, please go ahead. And if it's only about Manthan FKC, if it's only about the 10 lakh rupee you guys are seeing, you have to have your business plan solid. You have to have built a prototype, and you have to have done a market research. If these three things are not done, you're not clear. Okay. What if we can't build a prototype? See, prototype in the sense means what? Prototype can, it depends on what plan you have. It depends on the idea. If your idea is very good, it needs some funding and it needs to be built more. It all depends on idea to idea. But generic, this all is very important. So, and for example, if your prototype is not service, if it's something into manufacturing something, at least one model should be there where, see, for example, you might explain your product, whatever it is, but if at all you can't show it to me, I'll not know what it is. I'll not know what it is, right? So the user will not know what it is. So at least prototype will talk about, it will give them a feel of seeing what is this actually about. You've spoken about it so much. What is this actually about? So prototype is actually good. Means, see, this all points, having a prototype, making a market research, testing it in market. This all increases your strength of your business plan, or increases your winning chances more, or increases your confidence more. If it's not there, it doesn't mean it's not good. This all is a step ahead, where like advancements, where it's more, the value is more for it. I hope it was clear.
Sir, that prototype you told, no, sir. What will be for prototype should be for mine, sir, because I construct a shop, sir.
Build a website, no? Build a website. Normal
Sir,
website where it shows.
Sir?
Normal website. You talked about normal website, normal telephone. No, build a normal website and telephone number for people to contact. For example,
sir.
if at all you don't know, the same idea what you said, many of them are doing already in a lot of metro cities.
Sir, it's their app also, sir, to purchase. To book their
That's what I'm telling. No, you have to go and see, do the market research. Have you done the market? See, prototype is the last stage. Before that, you have to do the market survey. Have you done the market survey? Lokesh.
in single place.
Now, have you done the
We
market
have-
survey?
Sir, yes, sir. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, we have to go for purchasing bricks somewhere and steal somewhere like that, sir.
That's what you have to do in a proper way. You have to jot down the questions what you want. Mane hatra alla, you have to go different areas, talk to them, understand what they want. Then you build your actual plan. Is your plan you're selling it over the website, over the telephone, or you want somebody to call you? How the customer will come to you? Through a website or through an app? How? Adana clear ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. If it's an app, you build a prototype of your app. If it's a website, you build a prototype of your website. If not, at least a structure, a design, a photo, how it is going to look, or a video, how it's going to look, how it's going to work. Got
Okay,
it?
sir.
That's how prototype you can build.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So prototype is the next stage. Before prototype, always you should have a market survey done. Doing a market survey will give you more ideas of how your prototype, how your idea will execute. Anybody else? Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Anyone? No one? How many of you over here attended? How many of you are applying for FKCCI Manthan here?
I am planning of doing so, Swarna Prakash.
Good.
Registration closes on Jan 31st. So we are waiting.
And if at all you guys don't know, we were the runner-ups in 2014. We had one Manthan in 2014. Yeah.
We actually was waiting for a session to be done, sir.
So basically what happens in Manthan, no? Let me tell you what happens in Manthan. Manthan, you have a lot of different rounds. So first round, you're submitting your plan. So they'll see if your plan is good or not. Then they'll select. Then they're going to give you some training called as knowledge workshop. So I don't know how many workshops they have now. So earlier they used to give 2 workshops where they're going to actually teach you how to write the same business plan. So they're going to explain each template step by step and do. But people who want to win, I have seen people who have won. No, I've been going to Manthan also from last 4 years. I go see what kind of winners are there, what kind of participants are there. And from our play, when we won in 2014 till today, how it's happening. So what is happening is whenever the participant is coming, they already have a plan built. They already have a prototype built. And they have it sold also. They have it sold also. Many of them. And those are the guys who won it. Okay. And let me tell you, these all guys are from engineering background. In engineering, what happens, like how you guys have your internship project in your 3rd and 4th semester. You internship ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ 3rd semester. Like in engineering, they have a project to build. They have to actually build a product. So most of them come, they have the product already built in their as a project also, as a business plan also. Okay. And they've actually tested it also. So that's where they have edge. Okay. So if at all you guys want to participate it there, if you've still not started doing anything, you have to do it now. Okay. You get in touch with me later, step by step, or maybe I can guide you for example, for each plan, it's different. For each idea, it is different. I can't tell overall generic, it might work like this. For your idea, it might not even work. Okay. That will be able to understand only if at all we understand your plan well, right? So for that, you get in touch with me later. I'll help you out how to do that part. Okay. But Manthan part is very interesting to learn. And if at all you want to win, you have to be very, very competitive. Very competitive means what I have seen people, they've sold lakhs of rupees of product. They've won the product, then they've won the competition, right? So, or their idea is very good. Their idea is too good, or the team is too good. There were 2 girls. They didn't have prototype. They didn't had any things sold. All they had done a market survey. They had done a market survey and they beautifully presented it. And they had a very beautiful plan. And they got 3rd prize, like I think 2 years back, right? So either your idea should be very good, or you have to present it so good, or it has to be tested, and at least a prototype has to be built if at all you want to win Manthan. What if we can't build a structure of the app showing how? Yeah, that's okay, Amolya. Either you can show it with a video version, or you can show it with a screenshot how it's gonna work. But generally, what happens if it's an app, you should also have a team member who's gonna build it. Okay, team plays a very important role. So any ideas or suggestions for Manthan, you guys get in touch with me. I'll tell you guys what to do, what not to do. But generally, do a market survey, do a market research if you guys have not done yet. Prepare a questionnaire, go meet people, talk to them. If possible, get video recordings from them so that you can show in the competition that you have done this much things, do the analysis, have a proper report ready. After that, build your business plan. Okay. Then at least you're a bit ready for those particular competitions to participate with. Or simply one day before you're writing a plan, 2 days before you go there, participate, you'll not win. It's just, you'll lose. But you'll learn a lot. But do participate, you guys will learn a lot. But to actually do things, you have to be practically, you should do a lot of things. Then the chances of winning is very high. And you should be good and you should be clear in whatever you're trying to do. If you're not clear, it's gone. And whatever points I've been telling, there's also you should be clear with. Yeah, Lokesh.
Sir, in my plan, I don't purchase the bricks, sir, because we will produce that one, sir. Then I should mention that one also, no, sir?
And then in individual plan bucket discussion, now Amel Madan, you guys get in touch with me later. Individual plan discussion, I'll help you guys. Don't worry. You get in touch with me later, okay?
Yes, sir.
Any normal doubt, common doubt, generic doubt you have, you can ask me. Only about your idea, what to do, what not to do, we'll discuss later one-on-one. Okay. For that, don't feel shy. Get in touch with me anytime. No issues. Okay. Yeah, Jai Shankar, any doubts from your end?
Excuse me, sir.
Early, sir. Now.
ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ನಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದು ಆಪ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫಿನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಆತರ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಪ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಲ್ ಓವರ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಈ ಆಪ್ ಏನಂತ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್
ಮಾಡಿ? No. You have to have everything. That's why I told you, the revenue model, how it's going to, revenue model talks about your financials. Target market talks about your, what kind of market you're getting into, your marketing plan, adalla target market maatartivi. Okay. In your competitor and barriers to entry, you talk about your competitors, who are competitors, how well you have understood them, and where you are today, and what is the restrictions you have to enter to the market. So you have to explain everything. Product, explaining about product is only one slide, 1 or 2 slides, 1 slide, max. Okay. Product explain madade alla. Adu ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, financials ಏನು, ಅದರದ್ದು target ಏನು, disadvantages ಏನು, USP ಏನು, how you going to sell it, how much money is needed, and where you're going to go next 3-4 years, and to reach that level, how much money is needed, or what is the steps you are taking, current, what all you have done, and what all you have planned to do next, financially, marketing wise, everything should be there. And that's what I'm trying to talk to you about. Target market, about your revenue model, about your USP, all that. Team, all that. Bari app onde helidre agalla adalla.
Sir, adu what if that ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗತ್ತರ ಅಂಡ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗತ್ತರ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತೋರ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? We can project our idea and we can suggest it.
No, see, every business is all about money. Okay. If business you're not able to explain how the money is coming in, how the money is going on, business is not there. Either you work with government, you work with public, whatever. Illa andre the NGO agutte. NGO is not business. That's a different plan altogether.
Okay, sir.
If it's a single idea, if at all I have doubts about your own idea, you get in touch with me later. I'll help you guys to understand, because first I have to know what is that idea. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is that government, public you're talking about.
Okay.
It could be anything. It could be an NGO. It could see NGO ideas also can be presented. If at all you have some non-profit ideas also, non-profit business model also, that also you can project it. Okay, but you should build something solid, and it should be more. What I've seen is sumne competition, no prize at the whole geldor kadme. The actually people who want to start, the actually people who wanted to do something on their own, they have won in all the years. Which what I've seen from my time till now. What all I've seen, that's more. Yeah, any other doubts, guys? Always will close the class. ನನಗೂ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ತಲೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ನೀವೇನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಡೌಟ್ ನಾವು, ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ 3-4 people.
ಸರ್ ಬರೀ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ
ಸರ್.
ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಸರ್ ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ವಿನ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟ್ರೈ.
ಸರ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ.
ಓಕೆ.
ಐಡಿಯೇಷನ್, ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅವರು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ,
ಅದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್, ಅವರು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ.
ಅದು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಖಂಡಿತ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್.
ಸೊ ಥಿಯರಿಲಿ ಇಫ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ ವಿ ಟಾಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್, ಅದು ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್, ಬಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ ನಾವೇ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಕಮಿಟಿಲಿ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಆಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ನೀವ್ ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಸರ್, ನಾನ್ ಫುಲ್ ಕೇಳಿದೆ, ನೀವು ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವೆಲ್ಲದು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಅದು ಐಡಿಯೇಷನ್, ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್, ನೀವು ಪ್ರೋಟೋಟೈಪ್, ಪಿಚಿಂಗ್ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡೆಡ್, ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಅದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೇನೆ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದು.
ಹಾ ಸರ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದ ಡೌಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ the doubts you have, please ask. It will be very easy to you to implement.
And if anybody have any one-on-one doubts, no, so yenagate individual ideas when you guys have, for example, somebody had some construction idea, somebody had some NGO or some government public, I don't know what it is about. ನೀವು ಇವಾಗ 10 seconds 20 seconds ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಂಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿರೋದು. ಸೊ ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟಚ್ ವಿತ್ ಮೀ ಲೇಟರ್ one-on-one, I'll help you guys, don't worry about that. But actually you guys should be interested to do something, then you'll learn it better. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ for the sake of doing it, if at all you do, you'll not learn better. So these all things are understood. So for example, swimming, ಈಜಾಡೋದನ್ನ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಲಿಯಲ್ಲ. ಈಜಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರಿಗೆ ಬೀಳ್ಬೇಕು, ನೀರಿಗೆ ಬಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಈಜಾಡೋದು ಕಲಿಯೋದು. Okay, so this is all the same. So theory, practical is all same. So to learn practical, we have to actually get into it. Then only you learn better. Okay. Any doubts, guys, from your end? No doubts? Okay. So then if there's no doubts, we'll close the class then.
Sir, ನಾನು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಾನೊಂದು ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಸರ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕವರ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಫ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟಿವ್ ಸಮ್ಮರಿ, ಸಿನಾಪ್ಸಿಸ್ ಗೆ ಸರ್ ಇದು, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್, ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಇಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ, ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದ ಸ್ಟಡಿ, ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್, ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್, summary of the team, operation plan, marketing plan, financial plan, and what are the milestones, if any attachments.
Correct.
So is it sufficient, sir, for synopsis preparation and drafting of business plan?
ಇದು FKCC ಹೇಗ ಸರ್ ಇದು?
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಜನರಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಜನರಲ್ ಬೇಕು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡಿ
ಸರ್. ಜನರಲ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಇದು PPT ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಇದ್ರದ what all points are there in this, it's very important. Either the problem statement,
yes sir,
the solution, or the USP, or the competition, or the target market, revenue model. So revenue model ಅಲ್ಲಿ financials ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So target market ಅಲ್ಲಿ what kind of target market, how will they do it, the marketing plan, all that will come here.
Yes sir.
And about the product, the features of the product ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಿದೆ ಏನೇನಿಲ್ಲ, how it's gonna work. Yes, all that will come. Milestones, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕು.
Yes sir. So majorly they should know what is the purpose, what's the audience, and what do you want.
Correct.
So actually ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ ಸರ್ ಇದು. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಮಂತವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಏನಾರು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಟು ಭರತ್ ರಾಜಣ್ಣ ಸರ್. Definitely he will help you.
So whatever doubts you come up with, you always come back and ask me, so that when you actually start working on it, you'll get a lot of doubts. If at all you don't start working on it, doubts barala. So it will all look like pen and paper. But the important thing is, if at all you want to start building a business plan, ಒಂದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನರ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ 100 to 200 ಸ್ಯಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಸೋದಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಗುಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಯು ಫಿಲ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಹೂ ಆರ್ your target market, you think they're your target market. Ad ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡಿ, you'll get a lot of ideas to write your business plan, entire business plan.
Correct sir. Empirical research ತರಾನು ಇವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ at least ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ observations ಅಲ್ಲೂ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ.
ಹೌದು. Then only they'll know it much better.
Yes sir. So I think
they don't have any more doubts.
Yes sir.
Okay,
thank you so much.
Okay,
Yes, Navya BT, now she is going to ask questions.
Yeah,
Navya BT.
ಸರ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇವಾಗ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವೇ ಇವಾಗ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಬರ್ದಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಲೈಕ್ ಒಂಥರ ಏನು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್ ತರಾನೇ ಅವರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟು ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾ, ಲೈಕ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಇಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ದಿ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾ, ಲೈಕ್ ಫಿನಿಶ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ?
See, one thing in business plan, that's what I told. First, do a market. Anybody who wants to write a business plan, one small market survey madi. Okay. After you do a market survey, you'll get a lot of ideas of what it is. Then, in every business plan, what you have to include is what is the problem you're trying to solve, what is the USP, ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ನಿಮ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟಿಷನ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, and how the money is coming in, the finance aspect of it, the marketing, the revenue model, the marketing aspect of it, how is it going to market. So these are all important. The points are there, small points, like how your business is built, like how in every business you have different marketing department, finance department, HR department atala iruttalla. Adhe tara when you do a small research and you start building on all these points, you'll slowly get to know what is required. For example, team andre most of you said you wanted to build an app, but do you guys know how to build an app? Who's going to build an app? You're going to say I'll pay somebody money and I'll get it built. No, it's not going to work. Okay, you should have a person who's a technical guy in your team, who's going to take care of it, at least who's going to understand what is what. Or there should be a company, or for example, if it's an e-commerce, there's a website called Shopify. They're going to build an app for you and they're going to give you, that's more accountable for. So how that's going to work? ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ this all is what is needed, and we're always there to help you guys to do how to do what not to do there. Like Vinay sir told you a lot of different points, like I discussed with a lot of different ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಏನೆ. ಅಳಿಯ ಅಲ್ಲ ಮಗಳ ಗಂಡ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಳಿಯ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಓನ್ಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯು ಗೈಸ್ ಗನ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಯು ಲರ್ನ್ ಇಟ್ ಬೆಟರ್. Always whatever we discuss, it's all on pen and paper, it's all blank. Clear, Navya?
Okay sir.
Any other doubts, guys? Or else we'll close the class. Or else you have any doubts anytime, you always feel free to get in touch with me. I'm always there to help you guys. But I would strongly suggest, if at all you don't want to start your own startup also, at least do a small market survey, do market research on your idea, what do you have, or take existing businesses only, like Ola, Uber, existing business only. You think about how you could do it better. For example, Ola is there, Uber is there, Oyo Rooms is there, Airbnb is there, Flipkart is there. ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅದನ್ನ. Okay, at least have that kind of ideas in mind. Okay, ಅದರದೊಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ. So you guys are going to learn a lot. You guys are going to learn a lot in the process. And I would strongly suggest all of you do apply for the competition. They have some workshops also. You'll learn a lot of other things. You'll meet a lot of people, and try to participate as much as possible. Anything, not only this, any competitions, any events, anything which comes up, always try to participate. Participation teaches you a lot of things, right? So that's all from my end then. So any questions there, let me know. I'll always there to help. And thank you so much for guys for attending, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you guys. So for the entire college, and thank you so much Vinay sir and Lakshmi Narayan sir for giving this opportunity to talk to you guys. And any doubts, please to get back to me, get in touch. I'll always help you guys. And case to case we'll solve. For individual, there'll be a lot of different things we have to check and get into that. And any help, always please get in touch with me. Okay. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye. Sir, in health, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye, guys. Bye, guys. Bye.
Yes.
Thank you.